I built an AI agent in N8N which will reply to leads exactly how I would. Same style, same tone of voice with zero effort. Let me show you how you can too. So here it is. Right, so this is a workflow which automatically responds to leads replies from an Instantly.ai campaign. So it will understand the message. It will have the first email that I sent plus the leads reply. Then it will retrieve relevant company information. It will retrieve examples of exactly how I've replied to similar messages before using Pinecone and semantic search. And then it will generate personalized responses that match the business owners, which is me, exact tone of voice, right? So this is it a bit zoomed out. So we'll take, just as a really quick overview, then I'll dive into everything. It will take data from Instantly when someone replies. So it's not a positive reply. It's just when a lead replies in a specific campaign. Then we'll do a sentiment analysis because I don't really trust Instantly sentiment analysis. Plus, I do want it to respond to neutral replies because that's what I do as well. If they say, unless they've told me a hard no or a stop or an unsubscribe or anything like that, I still reply. Say if they, still might be marked as not interested, but realistically, there is still some sort of message that you can get out of that and still turn them into a bit of a warmer lead. So I've said positive or neutral, it will carry on and will extract all the details and put them into their own sort of variables. Now, the thing is, this AI agent is not a complete sales development representative, right? It's not an account executive, account manager, whatever you want to call it, okay? It's just going to reply to that first message. Obviously, you can use this as a base, turn it into a sales development representative down the line. All that would include was giving it a load more examples of how you respond to leads and how you nurture them into becoming a booked call later down the line. And it would just continuously nurture the conversation and get them into a booked call, which obviously sounds really cool, especially if you're getting hundreds of leads a day, then that's probably something you'd want to look at. But since I'm probably only getting 10 opportunities a day because I'm doing a huge campaign out at the moment, or I'm going to start it soon, I'm only just going to want it to reply to that first initial message just in case I'm on a flight or I'm playing golf or or something, just reply to that first message in my exact tone of voice, how I would do it, and then send that reply out. So since it's only going to be doing the first one, creating the first message, I've created a little database within Google Sheets. I'll show you how that looks. I've called it the processed leads log, and I've just put 4 emails in there, just quickly, whatever. And essentially what it's going to do is search for the lead within that database within the Google Sheets. If the lead isn't in there, then it will add it to the database and carry on. But if it is in there, then it will stop. It won't then reply again because say I've sent the email out in the automated campaign, they reply, the AI agent replies to that lead, and then they reply again. That's where I'm actually going to come in and nurture that lead and get it onto a booked call. But if I didn't have this step in, it would just continuously reply to that lead in the tone of voice of what I do in a first email, if that makes sense. It will make sense later down the line if it doesn't already. So basically, we're only doing one email, and this is what this step does. It only just sends that one email as the agent. Then this is the reply generation. So it will match the exact tone of voice of what I'd normally do. It will also, I've given it some company info just in case it needs it of what I do and what the business does, etc., etc. It will maintain the conversation context. So it will understand, like I said, the first email that I've sent and their reply. It will have everything there it needs to generate a contextual relevant response. And it will generate a personalized response to that lead. So down here, this is the Pinecone vector store. So in here, I've given it the company info and I've also given it the tone of voice. So to get the tone of voice, I've given it 108, I think, examples of my replies that I've done previously. If you don't have that many, do 10 or 20, then give it to ChatGPT and say, look, this is exactly how I respond to leads. Give me another 80 examples of this, and you'll be able to stick it into the database. I'll show you exactly into the vector store. Sorry, I'll show you exactly how I do that afterwards. As you can see, I've got an own automation to actually embed all the documents, and I'll go into detail about how this retrieval works as we break this down further. But essentially, you've probably heard of RAG agents. It's basically just a RAG agent. It retrieves the data, finds like the top, I can't remember how many, like 3 to 5 examples that are very similar to the inbound email. It finds finds examples that I've given it that are very similar to that based on sentiment, and then we'll use those 3 to 5 examples to then generate the reply. So it's not using all of them, and I'll get into why it doesn't and why that would actually be negative in the future, or later on in the video. But for now, I'm just obviously doing the overview. Then we'll do another set node. We'll just format the response. We'll just do a load of set variables as well. So who we're sending it to, the ID, where we're sending it from. We'll format the actual output, etc., etc. We'll get the unique ID. So that's just a call to Instantly. And then we'll send a reply through the Unibox. Okay. Now that's going to reply straight away. We might want a wait module of maybe 30 seconds. But the reason I do this is because you guys understand, if you've been watching me from the start, how important it actually is to respond to leads literally as soon as possible. A lead gets colder and colder and colder the longer you leave it. So if you're responding straight away, especially with a call to action to say, look, let's jump on a call, whatever, they're already intrigued. Their impulse has increased, right? So you're getting them above that buying line. Something has made them respond to that email. So the quicker you respond to them, the more likely you are to close that deal. Cool. So let's just get into the nitty gritty. Right. In fact, I have got some API keys in here, which I'll have to get rid of. So this is the webhook. I self-host, so that's why it looks like, that's the test URL. But anyway, the production URL will just basically respond immediately to any data that gets sent. So essentially, when a lead responds, as soon as that lands in my inbox or my Unibox within Instantly, it will send the data to this webhook ready for the AI agent to reply. Then we're going to do the sentiment analysis, like I mentioned before. Really easy to set up. I just give it the text that the webhook's going to get. Say if it's positive or neutral, then we'll carry on and we'll extract the email details. So I'm going to get the email, the first name, last name, subject, the message body. So everything that's been sent in the message body, it's the first original email that gets sent, the cold email, and then it's their reply as well. So that gives it the whole context. Get the campaign ID and the campaign name. Not exactly necessary, but the reason I think I was actually going to put that into the database later on into here, but all I've got there is email and status. So something to do later down the line. Then we search for the lead. So we're in the process lead log, sheet 1, which is this process leads log, sheet 1. And we do a filter. So if it's basically searching the email column and it's searching for the lead email that's come in from the webhook from Instantly, it's searching whether that email exists within that database. Then if true, so if basically, I know that's sort of backwards, it should be if false, but if it doesn't exist, it will go to here and it will add that lead into the database. If it does exist, it will just stop there. That's it. It won't carry on, right? But if it doesn't exist, it'll add it in. And essentially what this looks like is just add the email and add it in as email. So we're appending a new row into that sheet with the lead's email, and we're changing this status to emailed, even though technically it hasn't happened yet, but within the next 3 seconds afterwards, or 5 to 6 seconds, it will do it. Now, the magic, right? It's what everyone's probably actually watching this for. This is the email reply agent. So the prompt, the user message, is literally just the whole message body from the set variable that I set before. If you remember in the previous, in this one here, it's just the message body. So again, remember, it's the first email that gets sent, the cold email, and then the next one, the lead's reply. Now, I have 3 people working for me. So I've told it it's either Ben, me, Amelia, Jack or Isabella from Centrix, which is an AI and hyper automations company. You're a confident, casual, consultative, and occasionally cheeky, but always professional, right? And that's exactly how I be. I am confident, casual, consultative. I actually gave a lot of my responses to ChatGPT and said, look, what do I look like here? How do I respond? How would you say my tone of voice is? And it said confident, casual, consultative, and occasionally cheeky. I'm telling it that it helps businesses automate their lead generation, outreach, and growth operations through tailored AI systems that they own, which is a big sort of unique selling point for me, I suppose. And something I teach in my community is that, look, think of us as sort of an MSP in a way, where we sell things one-off. You're buying our time. This is how I sell my services. You're buying my time. You're buying the automation. All right, that's a one-off setup fee. After that, because this is tech, you're going to probably want to keep me on for a bit longer, just in case anything goes wrong. You want any tweaks, you want any upgrades, stuff like that. You pay me a monthly fee for me to do that. But something that, especially with lead generation, something that companies and businesses and business owners, they prefer is to actually have that full accountability over their outreach. So they prefer to own the system and it's theirs. They want to own it end to end. They want to own the app. They want to own the automation. They want to own the lead scraping automation. They want to own something this as well, which you can also sell as an add-on to companies. So lead generation is great. I don't know, I'm going to get down a rabbit hole here of just pitching why you should sell lead generation, but it's something I talk about in my community and I teach the people to do, is to sell lead generation, because you want to sort of stick to one thing that you can become pretty good at pretty easily. And then on top of just lead generation, there's so many add-ons that you can do. You've got to scrape the leads, which you can sell an automation for. You can you've got to reach out to those leads, which is obviously the main automation. You can sell a load of add-ons like voice callers, email reply agents, stuff like that. Really clever stuff that is really going to help businesses going forward. So it's a really good sort of offering to have as your core offering. Anyway, so your job is to respond to inbound messages from leads who have shown interest in my company's services. So I'm giving it a bit of context about what's going on, why they're replying. You must match my unique tone of voice. Now, this is what it said. This isn't me just blowing my own trumpet here and saying that I'm confident, conversational, and cheeky, but this is what ChatGPT came out with. It says I'm confident, conversational, and cheeky, but always helpful and non-pushy. Again, if you've watched my videos before, you'll understand that it's not Wolf of Wall Street. I'm not boiler room sales. It's, I understand, I've seen firsthand the impact that these sort of automations have on businesses. So I understand, I'm extremely confident in the fact that the automation, whatever it is, will help that business. But at the same time, it's not like you buy or die sort of situation. It's, look, I know how much this can help. You don't understand it at this moment in time, so allow me to help you understand. Let me help me help you sort of situation. Yeah. Be tailored to the specific lead's message. That's why we give it the whole thing, right? So it can see my initial email and the lead's reply, and we can tailor a specific message off the back of that. Feel like a human wrote them. Avoid generic or robotic phrasing. This is really important. So this is what sort of tells the AI agent to actually retrieve the documents that I've given it in its brain. I've given it a brain of documents. It's going to go and search all the documents, all the examples that I've given it, find the ones that are most relevant to the reply that the lead has given, and construct a response based off how I've already responded to those leads previously, if that makes sense. So I've given it just two separate knowledge bases, I suppose. I've given it the tone of voice, so a bunch of examples of how I respond, and the company info. And I've told it to always call those tools before drafting a response. So use those past examples only as style reference. You do not need to copy them word for word. Just use them as tone of voice, as style reference, right? Right as if you are the person signing the message. It must feel like a real human response, and use humor if the lead's tone allows it. So sort of mirror their their tone of voice, mirror them. Be empathetic if they're skeptical. Be sharp if they're asking about ROI or pricing. Avoid fluff or over-explaining. Just be real. This is again what AI says. It says I'm a real person. And end with a clear next step or question that keeps the conversation moving forward. Stay human, stay helpful, stay Beinn. I think I was feeling quite motivational as I was writing this. I think I'd just put something quite motivational into the into the school community, and so I came out with sort of this, and really confidently. It only took a couple goes to sort of get this right, and I'm really happy with the responses. I'll show you the responses in a moment. Right. Then what we do, we give it the model, right? This is what's going to use to actually draft the replies. That's all that is. So I'd recommend either Anthropic Claude 3.5 Haiku or GPT-4o, which is what I use here. I've given it quite a lower sampling temperature because I want it to sort of stick to what I've already, the reason I've given it all these examples is for it to use my tone of voice. I don't want it to go off road, off track with just adding on a load of different things that AI wants to add in. It needs to sort of it needs to be my tone of voice, which is why I kept it quite low. So I'd actually recommend 0.2 to 0.4 with that. Now, this is the company info and the tone of voice, right? One thing to know about Pinecone is that it's a semantic search engine, let's call it. It's not now, as I've already explained, but I'm going to go a bit deeper into it. It's not retrieving all the data. It's not retrieving absolutely everything, right? It pulls the most similar examples based on the meaning of that lead's message, not just like keywords or anything like that, right? It understands emotionally what that prospect is saying, goes into the vector store, pulls 3 to 5 or so many examples that are similar, have a similar meaning and characteristic of the lead's message that's incoming, and will then use those examples that it's pulled to then generate a response. So it pulls responses that are most semantically similar to that incoming message, right? And you might think that wouldn't it be better just to give it a whole load of examples like you might do with like ChatGPT or anything like that? Just give it a whole load of examples and say, this is my tone of voice. Can you reply the same? But no, this is where we get to the sort of heart of precision versus power within AI prompting. So, for example, why would we not? Well, what one main reason that you wouldn't, okay, other than sort of vagueness, and which we'll get onto later down the line. Well, next, which I'll speak to you about next. But why not just use all 100 examples every single time, right? Well, these models that we're using, GPT-4o, they have, I think, the context window limits, right? Or like token limits. The easiest thing here is just to call them, is just say, right, we've got token limits. So you've got input tokens and output tokens. If you're giving it 120 or 100 examples every single time, can you imagine the size of that token limit? You'd either hit the limit or you're spending a fuckload of money every time this agent is getting run, right? And also just giving them all those examples would lead to like context confusion. It would reduce the accuracy of response, reduce the accuracy of actually having your tone of voice. And the more volume you give it, the more that the relevance drops. And I hope this is making sense. So that's why retrieval RAG is really smart, because by only actually feeding the AI agent 3 to 5 examples, you're saying to it, look at how I replied to leads who have said similar things, and just do that, right? Instead of giving it everything, and this is how I've already responded to these leads, or to leads that have said similar things. So just use that and draft a reply that's in the same sort of tone of voice. Does that make sense? That'll give you more sharp, tone matching replies. So I hope that makes sense. And helps you, if you didn't know already, understand what RAG is essentially. So yeah, what it would do, it would call this. No, it would call these, call that, blah, 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 call that, go back up here, call that, and there you go. the response is created. Now we have to send the email through the Instantly.ai Uni box, which again makes this really powerful, because you're responding with the same person in your tone of voice. Oh, it's really powerful. So we're going to format. We're going to again set some variables. So we're going to set who we're sending it to, the subject, and the message. So you can see with the subject, I add in a re. So it keeps going re, to make it again more human-like and as if you've actually pressed send. Then when we're sending a reply, we actually need the unique identifier of that lead. Cool. I've deleted my API key. So you need the unique identifier, right? So this is how I do it. It's a GET request. I've gone on the V2 of the API docs for Instantly, and I just found something that outputs the unique identifier of the lead. So I think it's just get lead, and you give it the dynamic variable of the lead that you created in the as a variable in the last step, if you remember in this one. Get it, run it. You just do it through the URL. You add it in, and it will. Bibbly babbly blue. It will, sorry, I don't know what I'm on about. It will just basically output the unique identifier, to which we'll then send a reply. And how this looks is we'll give it the reply to UUID, so the ID of the lead, the email account that it's getting sent from, which is literally, again, I've put it in the set variable, the subject, and the body we'll do as a text. I've given it text and HTML. It doesn't actually specify in the V2 docs, the API docs, whether you actually need text or HTML. So I'll just give it both and let it just do its own thing. But yeah, essentially that's it. So without further ado, let's show you exactly the sort of output that it comes out with. So here's one. Hi, Steve. Line break. Thanks for reaching out. So hang on, it's best off you understanding exactly what he said. He said, hi, David, interested if on a commission basis. Thanks, Steve. So I said, hi, Steve, thanks for reaching out. Well, this is what the AI said, which is actually really similar to what I'd say. Thanks for reaching out. We're not actually a lead gen agency, so we don't work on a commission basis. Instead, we build high ROI AI systems that you own and run as much as you want. This means you keep getting all the benefits without any ongoing fees. If you're interested in exploring how this could work for you, I'd be happy to have a chat. If not, no worries at all. Let no pressure. Cheers, Jack. I'm ecstatic with that. That's exactly how I'd reply. It's professional, it's non-pushy, it's consultative. He's getting all the information right. He says, we're not a lead gen, we don't work on commission, but instead we'll build the system and we'll give it to you and we'll put it in your business for you to own and run and drive ROI long into the future. That's exactly how I'd reply. So when it spat that out, I was over the moon. And I was like, right, bosh. I gave it a couple more examples, which I'll show you now. This is just an example showing you how it runs. It's retrieving everything, it's creating it. And obviously it's failed because I haven't got the API keys in there. Yeah. But let's see what it came out with. I've just ran this myself through sending just a HTTP request from make.com to the I like it already. It's what I'd put. I actually start a lot with so. But yeah, basically, hi David, sounds good. Do you do a free trial? Thanks, John. And it said, hey, John, the allure of a free trial. Like a test drive in a shiny new Ferrari, right? Fair enough. Well, we don't offer a traditional free trial. We do something better. We tailor a demo version based on your setup so you can see how it fits your business. Think of it as a sneak peek into the magic without any strings attached. Would it help if we had a quick chat to see how this could be implemented in your business? Let me know when you're free and we can get the ball rolling. I'm telling you, that's exactly how I'd reply. So look, I couldn't be happy with this. What you'd want to do just to set up your own vector database is, I'll put this blueprint here in the description so you can have it. But essentially what you'd do, you'd set up all your credentials with Google Drive. You'd go into Google Drive and you'd create a folder and you'd call it, I've got two, I think I call it master sheet and I call one email examples, which are basically two different sheets with a load of examples in. I could have done it all in one, so just do it all in one. copy and paste, give it an example, so say example 1, lead, and then give it what the lead has said back to you, and then your response. If you can find just 10 of them, put it into ChatGPT, say, give me another 50 or give me another 10. And if you're happy with what GPT is coming out with, if it's still your sort of tone of voice, then just carry it on and on and on and on, and do like 100. Or you don't even have to. A lot of people say do 30, but I tried with 30. It was a lot better when I had when I've put 100. I think I've got 121 I saw. So yeah, essentially you search for the file, you download the file. So this is company info, but I've got two: a company info file, and I've got a tone of voice file or voice style. And I choose the file, we download everything within there, and then it will embed the documents, right? I think it does it in a chunk. Oh yeah, the data that you get is in binary form when you download the file from Google Drive. So you want to just make sure the type of data is binary. I do it in chunks of 1,000, and you just put the OpenAI embedding in there, and it will embed all those documents within Pinecone. And it's really simple within Pinecone. All you have to do is go into Pinecone, log in, sign up, create an index. Or for me, I create 2 index called company info and style of voice or tone of voice. And it's really easy. You just use the OpenAI small embedding and serverless. Press OK, and you've got 2 indexes set up there, and you are now embedding these documents, inserting these documents into your index, into your Pinecone index. And also make sure you're calling both by a namespace. So I've called it the lead replier, the Pinecone namespace, and it makes it a lot easier when I'm putting it in here. Look, lead replier. It makes it a lot easier for the RAG AI agent to actually retrieve these documents. Also, you can see I've put here utility tools. You can give it the date and time. You can give it your Outlook calendar or your Google Gmail calendar. So it can also, this is more for when it becomes more of a sales development representative and you sort of add features on. You can give it the date and time. And you can also give it the ability to check your calendar to see if you're free to book meetings in. Upon a load of other stuff as well you can do. But yeah, that is it. Essentially, look, I hope it's helped. I don't think I've seen anything really like this. To be honest, you don't even need the AI agent. Well, look, there's another way you could do it. You could do it just by a basic LLM prompt, and you could just give it user and AI examples. But realistically, if you're giving a RAG agent, over 100 examples, and it's finding the ones that are most semantically similar to the lead's reply that's incoming, the responses are going to be miles better. So I've done this before on make.com, where it lost my train of thought, I'll just give it a load of examples on how to reply, and it was okay. I don't really use it too much, but this is going to get going. I think it's great. I think it replies just like me. It's great that it only replies once. Obviously, you can let it reply more than once later down the line. But yeah, hopefully you found this useful. If you're running campaigns and you're cold outreaching, I definitely recommend using this, refining it to how exactly you want to do it. And also, again, you could sell this as an add-on to any sort of service that you're doing, especially if it's, lead generation or anything like that. So drop me a like. You guys don't understand how much it helps. So keep liking the video, subscribe if you're new, drop me a comment if you have any questions or anything that you do differently. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.